After 33 years of homemaking, I've learned that the richest things we create in our homes aren't things that we can buy. They're things that we build. Skills, memories, confidence, connection, character. And one of the most powerful places that these things begin is in the kitchen. Today, I am making pasta with duck eggs from our ducks, and I'm making a dinner with produce from our garden, but that's not really what this video is about. It's about why I believe that learning to provide food for your family, as a family, is one of the most valuable skills that we can pass on, and within it hold the key to so many beautiful life pathways. The world we live in today has made it very easy to lose touch with where our food comes from, how it's made, and what it actually takes to provide for a family. Today I want to talk about why we still grow our own food as much as we can, even when some years it isn't always the cheapest or easiest option. Because this isn't about chasing a perfect homestead lifestyle. It's about building something bigger. Building a home with wisdom. If you're new here, I'm Shayla. You can just call me Mountain Mama. I have been homemaking for over 33 years. I started learning these skills when I was just 15. Long before I ever had a beautiful kitchen or the resources people sometimes assume come with this lifestyle. I have been a wife for over 22 years, and I'm a mom of 6 with kids ranging from adults down to still growing at home. And this mountain homestead, it wasn't something we just woke up one day and thought sounded fun. This has been a long journey. You see, it was 33 years ago that the dream for this mountain homestead sparked in my heart and soul. Before we ever lived here, I was practicing all of these skills. For decades, I was practicing gardening, preserving food, learning how to provide, reading the books. But there were seasons where I had to let things go. One time I had to let a beautiful goat herd that I had built go because I needed to focus on homeschooling my children, which had become kind of a full-time job, as well as taking on a part-time job from home because we needed the income. So at that point in time, I let my garden go for a few years. Those were really hard years. I thought I was letting go of the dream forever. It was about 10 years ago. It's funny how some things return to you when they're meant to be, though, and when you prioritize what is most important for right now. We're going to take a moment to thank Buydeem for making today's video possible. All right, you all know that I don't normally advocate for adding a whole bunch of extra kitchen appliances to your home. I'm pretty passionate about keeping things simple and only bringing into the kitchen things that are useful and practical. But I have to tell you something. Buydeem has expanded my horizons on this topic. Right now we are in the middle of a heavy harvest season, which is a blessing here on the homestead. But it means my stovetop is constantly covered with pressure canners, water bath canners, and pots full of food I'm preserving. On top of that, I do have a confession to make. I am the world's worst at cooking vegetables. I always seem to overcook them. I guess it's my ADHD, I forget, and I leave them going for way too long. And I do the same thing with chicken too. I love vegetables that are lightly steamed and have that little crisp and still full of flavor, but I can never seem to get them just right. Well, recently, Buydeem, they sent me their G52 2-tier food steamer, and you guys, it has been such a nice addition to my kitchen. Everything I've cooked in it has come out perfectly. Plus, it's pretty to look at. I chose the new mellow yellow color, and I absolutely love it. I think it's just beautiful. Now, it was previously only available in cozy green, which I also love, but now they've added this new mellow yellow and oat white, so you have a few different options to choose from to match your kitchen. What I appreciate the most is that I don't have to guess. It has 7 preset steam settings for foods like vegetables, eggs, seafood, chicken, and rice. So I simply turn the dial and let it do the work. When it's finished, it automatically switches over to the keep warm setting for up to 2 hours, which is especially helpful on those busy evenings when everybody is sitting down to eat at different times. Another thing that I really like is that it gives me a lot of cooking space without taking up much room on my counters. The 2-tier design lets me steam enough food for our large family, but it has about the footprint of a sheet of paper, so it isn't another bulky appliance taking over my kitchen. Because my stovetop is usually completely occupied during canning season, I love that I can steam vegetables or cook a side dish without using another burner. It even has a clear water window on the front, so I can easily see when it needs more water without taking anything apart. This is actually the third amazing product that I love that Buydeem has sent me. At this point, I can honestly say that I have become a major fan of this company. Their products are beautiful, they're thoughtfully designed and genuinely practical for busy families and busy kitchens, and they work so well. If you would like to check out the G52 food steamer, I will leave a link for you in the description below. Those skills that I built weren't wasted. Years later, the Lord brought us to where we are now. And of course, the lessons and all the skills came back. But I want to be really clear today. I'm so thankful for grocery stores. I'm glad they're there. I'm thankful we live in a time where we can literally just walk into a store and buy the food, whatever food we want, whenever we need it. But I also think it's really important that we understand what exactly we're buying, because our food system has changed dramatically. It's not what it was 40 years ago. It's not what it was 100 years ago. Today we go to buy a package of chicken breasts, but it's not just simply chicken. Many poultry products are sold with added solutions, such as water, salt, and other ingredients. And you know what? They increase the weight of the product. You go to cook them and half of that weight disappears. But many consumers don't realize how common this practice has become. So you're not just buying meat, you're also buying water. And what about fresh produce, which we think of as one of the healthiest choices we can make? But currently, we're dealing with severe outbreaks because of contamination risks, like E. coli, salmonella, listeria, and the latest, we're dealing with an outbreak of cyclospora here in the United States at the time of making this video, which is a parasite on produce, and it's quite unpleasant. Now, this doesn't mean we should fear our food, but it does mean we should understand it. There are also thousands of processed foods where ingredients are added for shelf life, texture, flavor, or appearance. Some of these ingredients that are restricted or not commonly used in certain countries are still permitted in the United States under different regulations. It doesn't take much to look around and go, there is definitely a connection between our food and our health. Now, again, this isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because when we know more, we can make more intentional choices. And so, one of the reasons I love growing as much of our own food as I possibly can is because I know the story behind it. I know where it comes from. I know where the eggs come from. I know what went into the soil. I know that any compost that has gone onto the soil was handled properly, and I know the work behind the meal sitting on our table. You know, I'd love to know, what is one food you wish you knew more about, or perhaps something you wish you could grow? Maybe it's something you buy regularly but haven't really thought much about how it's made. Tell me in the comments, because I think a lot of us are realizing we want to reconnect with our food again. There is a cost to growing your own food, and people don't always talk about this. A lot of resources online make it look easier than it is. Growing your own food is not automatically cheaper, especially in the first years. I think sometimes homesteading online makes it look like you just throw the seeds into the ground, and suddenly you have an endless supply of food with next to no effort. That is not reality. Gardens do cost money, seeds cost money, soil amendments cost money, fencing costs money. For a lot of us, water costs money, and I know this because I've lived it. Our garden can provide approximately 70 to 75% of our food in a really good year, but that takes work, planning, and experience. And even then, there are losses. There are pests. There are wild, unpredictable weather problems. There are years where things don't go like you'd hoped. We are just coming out of a water situation where we've been stuck in a drought where we live for pretty much ever since we moved to our mountain homestead, and we have a low producing well. We've been having to haul in water for our garden this year. But here's what I've learned after decades of homemaking. The value is in knowing how and where it's from. Because when you have skills, you have options to create a better product. A person who knows how to grow food, preserve food, cook from scratch, and make something out of what they have is never starting from zero. And this is where the family benefit comes in. This is one of the biggest reasons we continue doing this. It's for our kids. Now there's the obvious reason. We want to provide the best nutrition for them for health reasons. That is one of the biggest reasons. But there's another reason too. We live in a time where so much of childhood is spent looking at screens and being influenced. And I understand that because we do live in the same world and my kids do get screen time. Technology has its place. My kids are not what you would call the most sheltered homeschool kids. But we try to balance things. There is something deeply satisfying about doing something real. There's something different about a child who plants a seed and later gets to go pick the produce and eat and make what came from that seed. A child who collects eggs, a child who learns to cook from scratch, a child who understands that their hands have value and power. These aren't just chores, they're life skills. And as a homeschool mom, a second generation homeschooler with 2 graduates so far and 4 still learning at home, I have seen how incredibly valuable and powerful hands-on learning can be. Some of the best lessons don't happen sitting at a desk. They happen while learning together and oftentimes while working together. Genesis 2:15 says, "The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and care for it." From the very beginning, caring for creation and cultivating what we've been given was part of God's design. Initially, work wasn't a punishment, it was a gift. And I think there is something beautiful about returning to that rhythm. Planting, growing, preparing, providing, getting your hands in the soil. Not because we have to recreate some perfect version of the past, but because these skills connect us to something bigger than ourselves. The meal that I am making tonight, it isn't just special because it's fancy. I mean, yes, it's fancy, it's fresh, but it represents something even bigger. It represents years of learning, years of mistakes, years of figuring out how to make something out of what we have and make do with what we have. And that's what homemaking is all about. It's not about having the perfect house. It's not about having the biggest, most beautiful, Instagram-worthy garden. It's not about doing everything the right way. It's about faithfully caring for the people God has placed in your home and stewarding what you have. So maybe today that means growing a garden. Maybe it means learning how to bake bread. Maybe it means putting everything aside because you've got to focus on just getting a child caught up in spelling. Maybe it means cooking one meal from scratch each week. Maybe it means teaching your children one new skill. You see, these small skills, these baby steps, they become big foundations. What is one old-fashioned skill you want to learn or pass down to your children? I would love to hear what your family is working on right now. I also want to talk about the legacy that can come along with this lifestyle. I have so many memories of my grandmothers. They canned, they grew things at times, and especially my great-grandmother. She was one tough cookie and a hard worker. She was born down south and she had a southern accent. And her daughter, my grandmother, kind of went a more modern way, but still knew all kinds of old-fashioned skills. I remember how she had all kinds of tips and tricks, and while she was teaching them, she would tell stories. Stories about when she was a kid, funny stories, and working together side by side. Tonight's dinner looks like a luxury. Homemade pasta made with eggs from our ducks, vegetables grown in our garden, and a meal prepared almost completely from what we have here on our homestead. But after 33 years of homemaking, I've learned something important. The greatest thing we grow here isn't food, and the best thing we make isn't meals that could totally fly in a 5-star restaurant. It's skills and memories.